because you need to think about acquiring them, engaging with them, sometimes reacquiring them every new season, especially when you speak about sports. And the paradigm, it's quite different from what it was at the time of pay TV channels.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Retention Zone, the video podcast focused on streaming monetization with my friend Alessandro Tucci. Ciao Alessandro.
Ciao Carlo, very nice to be here. Good to see you again.
We're both Italian, but it will be in English as we, I think, always work for, English environments. So tell me about your experience in media and sports and streaming, because I know you have quite some interesting stories to tell.
Wow, it's a long story that all started in 2003 in Fox Channels Italy, in Rome, to be honest. It has been an amazing experience and an amazing live experience, spending few years in Rome. Growing the Italian business with supporting the launch of Sky Italia at the time. And that experience has evolved. Initially in Europe, expanding my responsibilities across Western Europe, and then ended up in South Africa, in Johannesburg, where I moved in 2011 to lead the Fox and National Geographic and Fox Sports channels for all sub-Saharan Africa. 2015 was the time to come back to Europe, to move to London, to lead business development and strategy for 21st Century Fox, the holding company of Fox, for EMEA and Asia, until 2019, when, as we all know, Fox was sold to Disney, and that great experience ended for me. And I decided to come back to Italy. It was time now, at that time, to go back home. And I moved to Milan, where I worked for Mainstreaming, a technology company working in the CDN environment, in the edge computing CDN environment. That is an essential element now for the new streaming evolution. We'll have time to discuss about it. And then in 2020, I moved to 11 Sports. My latest experience, 11, managing all the markets of 11 across Europe and Asia. And as you know, 11 last year was acquired by DAZN. Now all the 11 markets are DAZN branded markets, contributing to the DAZN ambition to become the global platform, the global destination for sports fans. So this is in 30 seconds, my last 25, 30 years of experience.
So it's quite impressive. I think you have seen not only the evolution of streaming, but also you saw it always from a media side, if you want, except for the mainstreaming part, but from many different angles. So my focus often is understanding how you grow, retain, and continue to grow an audience. What have you learned, or what have you seen happening through the years, and how this has evolved through the years? That would be something cool to know from you.
You're absolutely right. The evolution I had the honor, the opportunity to see is quite impressive. We moved from traditional broadcasting to pay television, that at that time seemed to be a completely new thing, especially for Italy, when in 2003 Sky started and finally pushed the pay television industry. And at that time, the big job in terms of acquisition and retention of the customers was made by the platform, by Sky. Us as channels, where we're focused on engaging with the audience, entertaining the audience, and keep the audience always alive within the environment of our channels. Consider that as a Fox channels, we end up managing up to 16 channels in Italy. So the big effort was to engage with the viewers in different ways, from entertainment, sports, documentaries, etc., and keep them within the network or the ecosystem of our channels as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So the measurement there was audience, was not customers. As you know, evolution came and streaming came as the new mainstream for distribution of content. And all or most of the entertainment companies moved to the streaming era with the ambition to talk directly with customers. So the focus now is acquire those customers or fans if they are sports customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As I like to call them, because there is a different behavioral, emotional subject between an entertainment customer and a sport fan that is moved by something that is inside of you, is in your heart. And then, as I was saying, we need to think then in a different way, because you need to think about acquiring them, engaging with them, sometimes reacquiring them every new season, especially when you speak about sports. And the paradigm, it's quite different from what it was at the time of pay TV channels.
And in terms of your experience in terms of marketing and data, so it's content marketing data, the product, the user experience. So it's kind of a complex playbook. In your experience, what was I don't want to say the magic recipe, but what was your approach?
It's a complex recipe, as you said, where in the latest years data has become more relevant because the direct to consumer has become the mainstream distribution method, and you get access to that data. When we were at the time of pay TV channels, the data was very limited. The audience data, everyone knows, it's a relative metric, right? So brand awareness, brand engagement, those were more relevant at that time. Today, thanks to the streaming and to the direct-to-consumer experience, you know exactly what customer is doing, what the customer journey is, and what you need to provide to them in order to continuously keep them engaged with your content offering, right? But if I look at the different moments, right, and I try to find a fil rouge that links all of them, is exactly what you were saying in your question. There is content, there is marketing, there is data, there is promotion and cross-promotion. All of them, they need to work together. They are not different silos of a proposition, because the content comes from the analysis of the customer. The customer feedback tells you what to buy. The promotion and the cross-promotion or the marketing acquisition is based on the customer profile that you have, based on the content you have. Only if you work of all these elements, they work in synergy, then you have the magic recipe.
And I was curious, and again, I don't remember exactly when it started, when you joined, but with 11 networks, there was a case of really starting from zero in certain countries, right?
Absolutely.
So at which point, acquisition gives a bit of space for attention, and then they go together. I don't know if you have to design, a curve.
A double curve. Yeah, what you are saying is absolutely right. I joined 11 when most of the markets were already established. But 11 had a very simple principle. 11 was looking for those markets where there were not primary markets, but where 11 could become the primary player on those secondary markets. Let's mention Poland. Let's mention Belgium. Let's mention Portugal, Taiwan, Southeast Asia. Okay, on all of those markets, as you say, there is a double curve. The first one is the acquisition curve, and in that 11 strategy was facilitated because the principle was we need to be wherever the fan is. So our strategy, our idea were was not to build, for example, a streaming platform only. We need to go where the customer is. The customer wants to be in a linear channel, in a traditional broadcaster, we need to be there. The customer wants to access from their mobile in mobility, we need to be there. The customer wants to access through a third-party aggregator, we need to be there. It's our job to be fully distributed in order to make the customer experience as easy as possible to find, to subscribe, and to enjoy the offering. And that was the principle, the basics of the acquisition. The acquisition is only the first step. When you start acquiring customers, as I said at the beginning, in sports, it's easier because they are fans. They are fan of their club, they are fan of their top players, and they are ready to do everything in order to follow them. Once you have acquired them, you need to engage with them. And that's, in my view, the secret sauce. You need to continuously engage them, not only in the live, but also outside of the live. You need to give them the opportunity to continue interacting with your content offering. At that point, your retention curve will be high. Your reacquisition curve will be very low because you don't need to do all those efforts to reacquire them every time because you have been able to continuously engage with them, to continuously talk to them through non-live, through documentaries, to whatever is news, transfer market, whatever is necessary and whatever is relevant to the fans in order to continue to keep updated about their team, about their favorite sports.
And one element that often is not maybe the super cool thing to talk about, but pricing. But we have seen movement recently. How do you think, not only pricing levels, but pricing structure? I don't think there is a solution for every case. No, you need to, that's very sophisticated, I think.
It is. And as the market grows, as the competition grows, it needs to become more and more complicated, more sophisticated. It's true, especially in sports, that pricing it's a little bit less relevant than in entertainment because, again, the fan is ready to spend in order to get access to the premium content to watch and to follow their favorite team and to the favorite championship of players. And this plays in favor of the streaming or the broadcasting platforms. But at the same time, you need to be quite sophisticated in order to be able not to engage with the core fans, those that at the beginning of the season, they buy the subscription, they want to be there. Those are the easy picks. The complex comes just after a couple of 45 days from the start of the championship. That's when you need to start addressing pricing and bundling strategies in order to attract those lower core fans, let me call it in this way, those fans that are less motivated to buy the subscription, whatever it takes. Okay, and that can be done in different ways with flexible packages, with decreasing packages, half season ticket, for example, or playoffs ticket that are attached to different pricing points. But that is where you have the capacity, or let me rephrase, if you play that part well, is where you have the capacity to become profitable and to make a profitable business, right? Core fans alone are not enough to sustain a platform, and probably subscription alone is not enough to sustain a platform. This is something.
Thank you for thank you for the segue to my next question that I was almost ready to. What about this hybrid model? I mean, this now I would say they are everywhere. Hybrid model, AVOD, SVOD, free trial. So, what is your view in that? It's like a necessity. Everybody should have an hybrid model, or what do you think?
I think it's a necessity. Let me start from the beginning. When SVOD platforms launch, all of them launch with a paid offering without advertising.
Can I say, sorry, I started to interrupt. Can I say something I never said? I wanted to say last night I recorded an episode with Christy Tanner in the US. To be honest, personally, and I may cut this piece, I felt liberated. When Netflix, for example, arrived, I felt liberated. I know that I pay for something and I can watch it, there's no interruption, but that's me as a consumer. Continue, Alessandro.
But now let me ask you something, Carlo. I'm sure you have been a Sky subscriber for years, right?
See.
You have been paying for something, and you have been watching ads on the sports, on the entertainment, on the documentaries that you have been watching, and that was a normality for us.
Yeah. But I didn't like it. The consumer, or no, Amazon that is putting that. I understand. I mean, but
we didn't like it when it was too much, when ads were not well integrated into the flow of the channel. So there were some channels that they were doing a better job, others that were doing a less good job. But let's take that apart. We were accepting the fact, the principle that we were paying for something plus the ad. When the SVOD world came, I don't know why, probably because the Netflix of the time, they launched with only the pay subscription. We got in mind that principle, the principle was I pay for watching something, there are no ads. When ads came, I found it totally normal because it was just the transposition of pay television into SVOD, a different distribution and consumption methodology, but the economic principle must be the same. Now, what the unbundling from the traditional pay TV world to the SVOD, direct to consumer, single brand, single proposition made, is that pay plus advertising is not sufficient anymore. And in fact, if we look around, we struggle to find one of the SVOD platform that is profitable. So all this to say that, in my view, we need to serve the opportunities, the direct to consumer that the streaming industry and the streaming technology offers, to add other monetization points, other servicing and engagement points that will make this business work. I'm thinking about going back to sports. I'm thinking about ticketing and merchandising. I'm thinking about gaming. I'm thinking about betting where allowed and where possible. At that point, you have two elements. One is that you can increase, you can make wider your audience, your customers, because all of them can be targeted in different ways. For free to watch just the news, who pays for the live stream, and then you have a second revenue element that are different revenue streams. There is someone that just will pay to watch the live stream. There is someone that will also buy a ticket or buy a shirt of their favorite player or place a bet. This revenue ecosystem is what will allow streaming platforms, in my view, to grow and not to charge incredible amount of money to the final customer. That is the other option, because if we do the economics only from a subscription point of view, we'll see that the price that should be paid for a subscription is extremely high, or would be extremely high.
Yeah. So basically, let me summarize. A way to fight in this phase, a way to fight churn is kind of aggregating in two dimensions. One, rebundling, like everybody's trying to become again, the place where every piece of content is. So because you go there, you pay once, you get a lot. So you tend not to churn because you have everything in one place. Not that someone has done it perfectly, but that's the idea on one end. On the other end, you're saying what you call services. So instead of just giving you video content, because that's what, Sky and pay TV, and it was video content. It's aggregating other services that are somehow related to the content on the other dimension, and trying to, again, if you want, going back to your rule number one, engagement in a wider form. So this is more or less the way of making it happen, correct? I mean, if I interpret what you said.
That's absolutely right. The engagement, as I said at the beginning, is the secret, is what you need to achieve in order to make it work. And once you have engaged with your customers or with your fans, at that point, you can open more monetization points that will benefit your business. There's only one thing that you say that I would like to take your brain at that point. Let me reverse today's call. You say that everyone now, every content needs to go directly to consumer. This is something that I struggle to understand. And I'm thinking now more about the entertainment world. All the big majors, they are now looking and they are making plans. They have made plans and they are going directly to consumer. But all of them, or most of them, are not able to become profitable. Who say that? Who say that all of them, they need to go directly to consumer? This is a rule.
I understand.
That came at a certain point after the breakout of the distribution, of the traditional pay TV distribution. But it's a rule that probably is not correct. Because in order to go direct to consumer, you need a deep library, you need a deep production capability, and you need a tremendous marketing effort to subscribe, engage, and retain customers. So that is a different business.
To be honest, there was let me be the historiographer here. So at some point, the new streaming becomes a reality that is feasible. So in theory, everybody can go direct to consumer. So a lot of and you saw, the Netflix, etc., having big success in theory. But then, as imagine in the sport industry, people totally underestimated. I mean, like totally underestimated direct-to-consumer marketing. It's like I spent 5 years saying this is the thing that we need. This is the thing we need, because it's clear if you're like you were, and me partially from a vendor point of view, you're embedded in a streaming direct-to-consumer operation as VOD service. You immediately understand that not only you have to work together, product, technology, marketing, but the piece that can make it a success or not, that even the de facto need number one is direct-to-consumer marketing, strategy, operation, etc., etc. Without that, but it's like when you see a startup, no? If you don't think about the market, it will fail. I mean, unless there are pivots, and you know it well too, you will fail. So if you launch amazing content, but you don't have a way to reach audiences, grow audiences, it will never work. On the other end, even if it works, the sustainability may not work. So what we are seeing now is a total, very chaotic rebundling, because media groups aggregating and going back to your times, not in Sky, but with Sky, etc. One of the things that I always, as you asked me to speak for a while now, you have to stop me. I always was amazed is why Sky through the years, and still now maybe, we're always so obsessed with the box, okay, the set-top box. That's today. I'm thinking this is a bit. I haven't completely created a strategy around it, but that's the one destination point. You can put all channels, you can put everything, because you have in normal streaming it's apps. But can you put an app inside the app? That's the problem. You cannot put a streaming app inside another streaming app, right? Look at DAZN and NFL Game Pass.
Exactly.
It's DAZN. Yeah, it's a section. It's not an app inside an app. In a box, somehow you could good apps, more or less, no?
It's coming. I believe it's coming. I believe you exactly mentioned where the evolution.
We went a bit deep dive in techie stuff. Sorry, but
I think you mentioned correctly where the evolution will be. Right?
Nah.
Apps that will become aggregators of other offers because they will have the strength or the capacity to market globally and to attract a number of subscribers sufficient. And at that point, they will become the aggregator of other offerings that will not be strong enough or big enough to go directly alone, right? You mentioned correctly the marketing effort, the market capabilities and skills and strategy that is necessary to direct to consumer. Let's not forget on the other side, because there are two elements that they need to be balanced, is the content strategy. You could be the best marketer and you can have the best capacity in the world, but if your content strategy is not big enough or complete enough to engage, at that point you will have a very good acquisition, but your churn will become very high. Yeah. And again, your math, your economics will not work. Those two elements needs to be balanced. Those are the two elements that needs to be balanced, and they need to work in parallel and together, right? Content strategy, marketing capacities.
Va bene, so you brought me into... I'm trying to let my guests speak more than I do, because you all know that I start to speak, it's difficult to stop me, but thank you for involving me in this live discussion, Alessandro.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you for your time today. Grazie.
It was my pleasure to speak with you and to pick your brain about these things.
Ciao Alessandro, grazie mille.
Grazie. Ciao.